Om Takiyasan. Namaste, Sarve Mere Rafstadar. So, Osio, all my relatives. Oh, find those few that you know always got your back. And yeah, for that I am very, very grateful. Yeah. As Michael Beckwith's song I just came off of was, who loves you, baby? Who's got your back? Well, that's the great spirit, the great mystery. However, and that's in essence, I gotta say that I have felt a few times. More than a few times. However, I'll share. I felt it today. And allowed all that angst and worry to kind of, well, I'll tell you what, I was all angst and worried. Well, not really worried. It's some concerns, and I really needed to kind of check with myself and going, where's this coming from? Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? But what I do know about myself is when I get these urges, and if there's some fear around it, keep going forward. Keep going forward. That's that. For me, it's a practice of trust. It's a practice of faith. It's a knowing that I'm pushing a boundary I hadn't pushed before. And sometimes I had not quite taken the jump off of the cliff yet. I've got some beautiful, beautiful trusted sisters that are doing some investigation work, you could say, that I am unable to do currently in this moment. I've done a lot. I can do a lot with my phone. I've gotten really good with the phone. I wrote a couple of novelettes on my phone. It just amazes my dad. And even got them uploaded on Amazon. Of course, I've taken all of that down at this point in time because I'm reworking them. I'm taking a look at them from a slightly different perspective. And there was some very, very well-intended energy with all of the books that I wrote. Very well-intended energy. However, it was a push, a give me this, give me this, give me this that I can put into a book format. And so I did. However, that energy that they were created with was different than the energy I feel moving through me currently in this very moment. And so I pulled them. And I'm reworking them to really fit me, my authentic me, the one that knew deep inside there would come a time where these would come through me it's hard to describe. They would come through me, not and be created, and not forced. That's the only way I can explain it. So it was from a different space, and a pressure that I was under at that particular, or I felt I was under at that particular time. None of us are victims, we're all volunteers, even though sometimes we may not actually feel like it. I've been in those places too. It's like, oh, really? Anyway, and going, I volunteered for that? Really? Yeah, we do. And as a part of that one divine, that's how much God loves us. So our topic this week on All Our Relations Fire Circle is how challenges become opportunities. Or allowing challenges to be opportunities. And I've got this interesting like trickle or drainage or something going on here. I have a feeling it has a lot to do with the dust in the air and the smoke and smog and different things traveling into our area. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's just happening right now. So I'm clearing my throat a lot. I do apologize. But it is my journal. It's my my meditational rambling. So this what I do, and I'm gonna put this little thing out there. Everything I share, everything I'm pretty much an open book. For the most part, I allow myself to be an open book. Nothing to hide. And and so I don't put on airs. I don't put on a stage. I don't check my background 9 times out of 10. I am right now, just because I have some pictures that I draw that started last December. It just started. I'm not really a drawer, an artist of any kind. At least I haven't claimed to be. Never have. And I found myself picking up this little book with watercolors at a $5 store to entertain myself a little bit. Thought, well, shoot, I'll try it. Why not? When I was sitting at the Motel 6 and was kind of in that cocoon prior to getting into my apartment, and it just began, and it has become a bit of an addiction. And so I do these drawings for the fire ceremony in the morning. And now in my apartment, they're on my walls and they're covering the 4 directions, and we just finished them. Today was the last day, and we get to choose. This is my gift. This is my offering. This is my give back to this amazing circle ceremony family that I was invited to, and thought, why not? I'll try it. And from that very first day, I was encapsulated, just like wowed by these folks. And it has become a part of my practices. It's become a part of my ceremony of my day. And they are some real, true, authentic. They don't, for the most part, they don't put on any airs. And yeah, they captured my heart, I've captured their heart, and we jumped on this Synchronicity Bus Express, and it has been going and going and going, and we hold each other during the tough times. We all have our tough times, and we hold and pray, and we're there for each other. And we cry with each other, we laugh with each other, we sing with each other, it's just, we learn a lot from each other. I've learned a lot about the Mayan calendar, which led us to the Gene Keys, which has now led me to astrology, and that is, wow. And no wonder our original people followed the stars and the planets and created the Mayan calendar, which then someone, I forget his name, but he encapsulated it in his way into these Gene Keys, and it's just amazing stuff. So where was I going? So challenges becoming opportunities. So my day, I had my dad on our call this morning, which was absolutely beautiful. I'm like, oh, I felt like I was sitting in the living room at his feet and just soaking up that vibe and listening to his wisdom, and wow. And then I make it to Hudvash, to my appointment. I was not going to miss it, because there's been that with the planets and the alignments, the energies, is this you wanting to move forward, but no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Just soak up the energies that the solar flares, the planets, stay in your bubble. Those couple times I tried to go out, I got redirected quickly back to the apartment, and staying out of the chaos and really, really listening, honing in those things that are, just being in that space. And then who was it that went direct today? And the August 11th, and then the transits, etc. I'm not going to try to encapsulate it, but it was this push and this oh yes, in these 3 days. We have this it's like a little 3-day window, and then the next. So, and I felt it this morning, because everything just, it's like that pause, which that pause was a couple of weeks, but that pause, oh, priceless, because that pause allows for things to, and when you're ready to move into that direct, there's a lot of clarity, and it's, now which timeline are you going to choose? That's the choices over the next couple of days. Is like, here's the perfect clarity for that timeline jump. Are you going to make the leap and be very, very crystal clear on the intentions? And I'm like, wow. And so, yeah. Transportation for the VA appointments lining up. It was, I got into they're wanting to do a lung cancer screening because I was a very interesting smoker for many years, 30 years actually. I started when I was 13, and by the time I was in my late teens, early 20s, and you go beyond that, I was a pretty good smoker. There towards, for many years, once I got married, and so forth, it was like 2 to 3 packs a day. And of course, I was working around a lot of diesel, all of that heavy equipment, and all of that in the military. And you just add up a lot of different things. So they're gonna do a screening. So blessed. What a blessing that is. So, but boom, 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 things just clicking into place. And it was very, very interesting. And so then here I am trying to pick up a few little groceries at the grocery store, right? Before going into my appointment, where they were setting me down because I was having a difficult time navigating it. So again, gratitude and kudos to the NCHP. I graduated from the program, but here I am trying to navigate this stuff, and I had my e-bike thinking, I'll make it to my appointments, right? Well, my dog won't take me anywhere after a certain time because of the heat. He chooses not to be in the heat, and he has redirected me a few times. So it's like, wow, okay. But now it's like, that just all kind of clicked into place. So I'm like, yes. Well, the grocery, that's where I was at. The grocery, my card, and I think I shared yesterday, I was so grateful that I had listens to my intuition and pulled out the cash. So I was able to get some stuff. And, I'm sitting there going, it's like, yeah, now, isn't this interesting to be in a place where you have money, but you can't access it? And that's why I'm like, preparedness. Now, you go to this evening, and I'm listening to Stefan, right? Today's update with the astrology and earthquakes and different things, and he's sharing about a dream he had and this cosmic boom thing taking place. And it's a certain technology they have now. It's like an electric boom blast where it wipes out all signals and you're just flatlined. And that's the new warfare. I'm going, interesting. So, if it's not going to be a volcano taking stuff and an earthquake, well, now we have sonic booms, right? And now we have somebody like Stefan who's receiving this message in a dream from a particular Hades, I think it was, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, preparedness and following that intuition, no matter how ridiculous it may seem in the moment, can really change things up. So for myself, I'm looking at, okay, I'm being told to go off that, to be prepared to be off the grid, have an atlas, have an e-bike, have these different things. Is that Raven coming home? No, that was a different motorcycle. Rashidi didn't lift his head either. But I heard a motorcycle, so it's coming through the gate. It's nice to know when the kid comes back with Raven. It's like, yes, he made it. Whew, he's safe. Good kid. Anyway, so, that through my train of thought. So I'm being prepared for, have a life straw, have a extra of your protein, have some cash on hand, have, an atlas, different things like that where you can be prepared. There's that preparedness solar charger. Make sure you have everybody's phone numbers and addresses and stuff like that written down, but tucked away somewhere. Your people and your tribe, your nation, your family, whatever. And yet, I'm getting this, okay, take a look at Starlink. And it's like, okay, this world, that world, this world, that world, this world, that world, back and forth. But I have a feeling it's both for the next world. It's just interesting. It reminds me of when I was back at the doghouse and I was going through my practitioner studies and the shift in the doghouse and kind of creating some workshops, and I had the choke array that I had mowed into the pasture, and you've got the transformation pit and the medicine wheel bridge and, the prairie on the other side with the bat house and the sweat lodge. And I planted a Reiki grid, and yet at the same time I was preparing and I was in the process of giving a lot of stuff away and preparing for a 50-state peregrination. And I remember someone asking me, are you creating a land sanctuary or are you pulling up roots and going on the road? Which is it? And I said, I'm following my guidance, and right now it's both. I don't know. I ended up letting the doghouse go and releasing all of that and going on the 50-state peregrination with this realization that the land sanctuary is Mother Earth. And rather than trying to bring everything here, I'm to take this medicine out there. And that's what I did. With this knowing that someday, while I was on the trail, I would find the right place to plant or to land and begin creating a sanctuary. Now, I've had several times where I thought, this is the place and this is what I'm doing, and then do all the prayers, set it all up. But what I realized, and then I'm plucked out of it, and it's like, what's this? So, okay, well, I'm back on the road and keep going on. And I love that shit. I love being on the road. I love doing ceremony. And what I realized is that was like a ceremony prayer in itself for something on a bigger scale. I'm an instigator. I have come to realize that with myself. It's taken quite a few years and some incredible heartbreak, and yet, especially on the human level, and yet definitely on the human level, but then on the spirit level, it's like, wow, well, isn't that magical? Isn't that cool? You know, now it's being created in several different places, and I didn't have to do it. I did the prayer work with this particular space right here where I was at. And not only did I learn a lot of stuff myself and had amazing experiences and met wonderful people, and we built or transformed some beautiful things. However, those went on, either they went on and did their thing and I moved on, or you know, and it morphed into what it needed to be, or it expanded, and you know, I that was, you know, they took what was shared and built something freaking beautiful out of it. And sometimes it may be different. However, and they got the credit, and that, to me, is freaking beautiful. And of course, 9 times out of 10, they'll share. It's a gift of spirit, and that's exactly what it is for all of us. It was my gift to be able to be a part of that, to do the prayers and the ceremony every single day, because I can, and be a little bit of a Sergeant Teresa type of thing. And, you know, they did the work. They did the work. And that's what's so cool. So, I don't know where I was going with that. It's just so cool. So here we are. Or here I am. With these pictures, and they're not mine. Yes, I drew them. Half of them, I'm like, I don't even know how they came, yeah, it's just like, where did this come from? And I have pretty much a photographic memory. I can't remember the exact words of each and every one, but I can definitely feel it and feel the ceremony, that space we were in. And get a vibe of the messages that were shared. And the cool thing is, it's their voices, it's their hearts, it's their energy, and yet all of us are connected to that one energy, which is creating each Mayan calendar day, orchestrating the planets and bringing the energies in, and we're little antennas picking up on it and doing and acting them out in our own unique, characteristical way as our ego, and an ego in a good way, in an ego in a good way. Ego is neither bad nor good. It's how we use it. And so, yeah, it's It's pretty special. And I am looking forward to taking them and handing them over to the Fire family and going, okay, they're yours now. Have fun with them. What do we choose to do with them? This is my gift. I'm really looking forward to I've done a lot of giveaways. I've done and many the power of prayer and ceremony and time. Like when I was in India demonstrating how to work with the dogs and the cows and the donkeys and so forth. And prayers, and ceremony and prayers and ceremony and just being, that's what I do. It's who I am. I can't not do it. And that's beautiful. However, and it makes a difference. It does make a difference. I know that. I think I know that. I like to believe that it does. It's that ripple effect, the butterfly effect. However, I'm really settling into this space of, money itself is not evil. And I've always had the vision or the dream of knowing that there's an abundance and see this space of a timeline of claiming and the ability. I shared this with my mom, is that I see myself just pulling up on my motorcycle. She's a sweet, sweet iron pony and all the bells and whistles and no worries, type of thing. It's not like I have to, pray over, it's good to pray over your pony, but it's not like I have to pray over him and just know that I'm gonna make it from point A to point B, and there's no doubt. And this might sound crazy to some, but I've always imagined having saddlebags that actually locked, and it's just some different things, but just having this, and flashes and I cruise when I pull up and I do ceremony and hey, you know, I can really see that, you know, you're doing some great work, and here, go get whatever you need. Here, let's upgrade this space, or let's do this here or there. You've wanted to always, well, here, gosh, the work that you've been doing, I know the work it takes and the abundance that it takes to do rescue. I did it for 25 years. So just that added piece, you know, I mean, because your big yeah, no, it's the little people. When I went on my peregrination, it was the little tiny churches, not those big mega churches that don't know how to open their doors during floods and actually help the people in a dire need situation, or open their roads so they can evacuate or stuff like that. You know, it's the little people. And the same is true in these, you know, the powwow getting together. Those are powwows. It's not about all that other stuff. But you know, you have a lot of these big old ceremonies and whatnots, and they're charging like, oh, it's, you know, all of blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's the intention is, maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to try to speak for them, but it's that same type of thing. You have it in all worlds. You know, you've got governments that are really, really good governments. Then you got those bigger governments that are like, okay, good luck. You kind of get, you understand anyway. But that's, I'm like, you know, Mom and I had shared that prayer, and I know she's speaking to me now. And part of that speaking to me is, get over your resistance. Get over it needs to look like this. Get over this. It's not even really humble or humility. It's a scarcity. It's this, lack and because I never feel like lack and limitation. I feel very abundant. And even when I was living on the road, I felt very abundant. There was the financial piece. You know, I was kind of like, sometimes like, I don't know about if we're getting good food, or do I have enough gas, or, you know, if my motorcycle breaks down, what am I going to do? It's this, you know, claim your abundance, claim your worth. And so I've claimed my worth with the military, with my VA, with my veteran status and my disability. And this is wonderful. This is great. I am so blessed. And I'm not quite, you know, got myself to this really good space where I can start sharing yet. But I am definitely looking forward to that. But I'm feeling like there's something more. There is definitely something more. And this is why I keep getting this prong in my back going, okay, it's time. It's time. You understand what we're asking for, and you know what needs to happen. And you've had your rest, you've had your relaxation, you've shed a few layers, and you're starting to get that clarity, and it is time to act. And part of that acting is letting go of some resistance around taking the next steps. I had to call a sister and say, okay, I'm thinking about this. This is what is coming to me. However, I need to get over this little emotional piece or this angst, and you're someone who would understand. And so I'll explain it. It's part of my journal. It's part of what I learned today. And it's this, okay, it has to do with like Starlink. And I'm like, oh gosh, now I've got a computer. Now I'm thinking about Starlink. And I'm going, oh my gosh, what, am I going up the wrong rabbit? You know, am I going up the ladder instead of staying close to the earth? You know, it's kind of this like, And, you know, because I was like, wow, I've got this down to like a science, very, very simple. I was like this master traveler with my motorcycle and the simplicity and being able to do a lot of different things. However, I had a lot of limitations as well. And so it is these limitations that are asking to be lifted. Yet, and she gave me this utmost sweetness and going here. I don't think you'll ever get lost in the techno world. However, because of what is needing to be done, this is the most logical next step, and even a lot of natives are using the Starlink. So it's being close to the mother and utilizing our tools, but not going like that, if that makes sense, but bringing the two together and staying in contact with the mother and listening to her as the primary voice and how to use, and using that as a tool versus a god, if that makes sense. That's kind of the feeling that I feel. And so I'm like, okay, now am I sure that this is the route to do what is being asked? Or is there some other technology out there that maybe is a little bit different or something? I don't know. I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. That's what came to me. And I'm just checking all the I's, T's, P's, and Q's, and so with that, I have a feeling that that is the good for my journal entry today. Yeah, this is good stuff. It's cucumber lime with some honey, and I think there's some pepper in there. I don't know, it's really good. Mexican drink. Thank you. So, I'm complete. I'm feeling the, so, thank you, Great Spirit. We're listening.